Just like that, I'm back for a live because it's just not stop right now. As the breaking news is coming in saying that Arsenal have officially made their third bid. That's according to the Athletic, David Ornstein at the Athletic, a bid worth up to £105 million for Declan Rice. They are desperate to bring him in. They had a club record of £90 million bid rebuffed by West Ham. That was a £75 million fee plus £15 million on top of that. There was an £80 million plus add-ons also rejected, and now they're on to the third and what could be their final bid as Arsenal try and make a move for West Ham's Declan Rice. What do we do in this scenario? Because quite simply, David Sullivan did state that if he's going to sell the player, it's going to be for £100 million fee plus a player or £120 million up there in the fee. Now, what we're understanding is that this is going to be potentially I mean, I don't know. Is it going to be paid over 4 installments? If you look at the Man City potential deal of what they were looking to do with bringing in West Ham, apparently they were going to pay 2 installments over 2 years. So Arsenal, as much as they may offer £105 million, what does it look like? What does the deal structure look like for West Ham? Does that suit West Ham's taste buds, and will that be everything that we want? And to be honest, for me, I'll be honest with you, no, I don't want it. I would happily sit and allow this one to fester for it to happen. I know we need money coming in for us to push forward. I'm just waiting on a guest coming on. But I don't think he's not there yet, so we'll get him on in a second. But for me, it comes down to, we want a specific amount of money, so let's just hold out for that specific amount of money. I'm going to bring Tommy on. Tommy, you've probably just heard, I know I've just thrown you under the bus, I threw myself under the bus by coming on this. Like Declan Rice, the official bid in from Arsenal, according to sources, David Ornstein, who's been pretty spot on during this whole procedure. What do you do? Do you accept this one, or do you hold out and let it fester a bit longer?
It would depend on the structure. Now, obviously, this is the first I've heard of it. So, obviously, £105 million is much closer to the mark. It's obviously the first, I would say, serious offer from Arsenal. But again, it would depend on the structure of it. I don't know if we know any of the details of the structuring of that. How much is hard cash? How much is add-ons? What are the terms of those add-ons? I don't know if you have any of those details.
No, I'm trying to kind of get that just now. I was actually doing a random live on TikTok, and then people were breaking it to me as there. So I thought I'll come across here and do it and bring Tommy on. And I just messaged you instantly and thought, let's have a go. So I'm trying to find out the deals, what the potential deal looks like. All we know is on the table, it's £105 million. It's 100 million. I don't know what the structure of that £100 million is, and the £5 million of add-ons, but at least they've kind of came over that £100 million barrier. But simply, let's just say it was 105 million, though, Tommy, all in package. Let's say it was paid over 2 years. Do we accept that without a player involved, or is that a good deal for West Ham? Considering the owners have stated that we would accept anything between 100 and 120 and or a player involved with that deal as well.
Yeah, look, it's a serious offer. I know we put a price tag of 120 on him, but I think it was probably always going to be quite difficult to get the full 120. I think it's one of those things where you start high. So Sullivan put 120 million out there, probably knowing in his own mind that he would take a bit less than the 120. I think that was just to kind of set the market, as it were, for Declan Rice, to make sure that we could maximize our profits on him. So I don't think the 120 million is non-negotiable. I think it is negotiable. I think 105 million. Let's be honest, it's a hell of a lot of money for a player. Even in today's market, that's a lot of money for a footballer. It's obviously, if it is, as you say, 100 million euros, that is a lot of money. And if it's only 5 million in add-ons, again, I'd want to know what we would take to trigger that 5 million in add-ons. So it's a very serious offer from Arsenal, and it's certainly an offer that we should strongly consider. I certainly wouldn't be accepting it right now. I think I'd be going back to City and saying, look, this is the offer on the table from Arsenal, and give them an opportunity to respond to that bid from Arsenal. It may be that Manchester City will want to flex their muscles and show Arsenal who's in charge, essentially, and say, look, we're Manchester City. We've decided we want this player. We're going to have him, and we're going to beat your bid. And I suspect Man City will want to flex their muscles on this deal. I think once Pep Guardiola has told Moshiri, or sorry, not Moshiri, what's the guy who owns City? His name escapes me, but the higher ups of Man City. I think Man City would be loath to allow a player that they're bidding for to go to Arsenal instead of them. I don't think that would be a look that Man City would like. They would like to flex their muscles. They like to show who's boss, that when we want a player, we will outbid you and we will go and take him if we want him. And I would hope that would be, and I would expect that would be the attitude from Man City. So I would hang tough. I would be on the phone basically to Man City, whoever
I was just about
to say that.
I was just about to say that to you, Tommy. Don't doubt this 1 second whatsoever at all in terms of West Ham and how we do our business. The owners or the people who are dealing with this deal will be on the phone to any interested parties. Would be surprised if they're doing it right now, but probably in the morning anyway. With the idea of this bid coming in, you know, if Man City, like you said, Tommy, are potentially going to drive up this bid, you know, this is playing into now West Ham's hands. This is the situation we find ourselves in. You know, it's taking its time. We as fans want this deal done quickly so we can now start to move on and start to bring in targets that you're starting now to see the transfer window shake up a little bit. It's getting moving a little bit now. And we want to do business nice and early. We obviously can't do business until we bring some much needed investment back into the club, which pisses me off in its mindset. It pisses me off as a West Ham fan that we find ourselves in this situation. But hey ho, what can we do? We're in it. But the 105 million is a serious offer. It puts us on the table now to start negotiating. Because really what you could do, Tommy, is you could go back to Arsenal and go, do you know what? Throw in a player of our choice within reason, and then we'll accept the offer and we'll let Declan do what he wants to do. And then it'll, or, you know, the other hand of it is you've got Man City there, you know, put the money where your mouth is, see what you can do.
Yeah, I think, you know, we're in a strong position. It's obvious that Arsenal want him and want him bad. So we are in a position of strength. I don't think it would bother anyone at West Ham if Declan Rice stayed here for another season and we got 70 million for him next summer. I don't think that would bother anybody. So we're in a position of strength where if we don't sell him, if we don't get what we feel we need to get from this deal, we're perfectly happy to keep him here at West Ham. And David Sullivan, I think, has played this very well so far, because he said that. He said, look, if he stays, he stays. We're absolutely fine with having Declan Rice at West Ham for another 6 months or 12 months. It's no skin off our back. And so,
there's a really good comment, Tommy, I want to bring to your attention. A very good comment quickly. Yeah. And I know there's loads and I'll bring them all up as I go along. But someone's just said here, Richard B said, throw in Kieran Tierney. I'm not saying that they would do that deal because I think they would value him more than £20 million, but it would be a very good option for West Ham.
Yeah, no, they're not going to. Yeah, obviously, look, if we go back to them, first of all, it would require Tierney to want to come and play for West Ham. Second of all, you know, if we go back and say that's a good offer, but we like Kieran Tierney, we wouldn't mind, you know, a swap deal with Kieran Tierney, then Arsenal would have to come back with another offer which would include Kieran Tierney but less cash. They're not going to give us 100 with 5 on add-ons and Kieran Tierney. That's not going to happen. You would have to drop the valuation, the cash valuation. But I'd be fine with that too. I think Tierney's a cracking player and would be a brilliant left back for us. And we need a left back badly, frankly. Yeah. So I'd be fine with that. But I don't think the club are going to do that. I think we're looking really to get cash out of this deal so that we can go and get the targets that we want. So it's
Yeah.
an interesting thing. It's something we could do, but I just don't see that happening.
This potential deal on the table would be a British record for two British clubs doing a deal for a player. This would trump the Jack Grealish deal last season, where Man City paid Aston Villa just over £100 million. This would trump that. So that would be the record deal for two British clubs doing it. So we're in this margin now. This is where we're at. And we're in talking about a defensive midfielder. You know, I've been on a couple of other channels over the last week, Tommy, especially a Man City channel, and they were talking about, you know, Anton, would Declan Rice walk into the teams? And I said, you know, I don't think any player walks into a team. I think they've got to earn their right. But I said, when you've got a player as special as Declan Rice, and you've got a manager as special as Pep Guardiola and other managers, and they're looking to spend this amount of money on a player who has not given you goals, because that's what everyone talks about, you know, hasn't given you the amount of goals, it must mean that there's something that these teams see he is next level. He's got the potential to go at the next level. And that's where, as West Ham fans, we do, whether you're an Arsenal fan, with respect, we do see that deal. Well, in my opinion, I see it as a bit of like, really? You want to win things? It's a big risk, huge risk for Declan Rice to go to a club like Arsenal when other clubs are got a bit more spending power, are now adding value to their squads. And, you know, Chelsea could find themselves sneak up there again. Manchester United under Ten Hag could find themselves sneaking up there again. And unless Arsenal do proper business and can maintain that level that they've had, we've seen that they fell at the last hurdle. Actually, they fell at the third or fourth last hurdle before they even got close to it, and got wiped out of the water at the end of the season. So it's definitely going to make an interesting couple of days in the West Ham world, isn't it, Tommy? And I mean,
yeah,
listen,
absolutely. And you know, I mean, at the moment, you know, it's seemingly a two-horse race, but I think City will certainly now, probably tomorrow, come in with another bid, a stronger bid. And it'll be interesting to see what Man United do, because obviously there has been a lot of speculation that Man United are monitoring the situation. If Man United are very serious about Rice, who knows what might happen there. This might trigger them as well to say, right, we're going to play our cards now too. So it'll be very interesting,
Tommy. I find that one interesting in particular because I think they may be triggered on this, because I think they come from, you know, if Declan Rice is open to a move to Manchester, then you've got a club who's winning everything right now versus the biggest club in the world, questionably. And if you believe in projects, then that then puts them on the table. What Manchester United have in terms of power in the deal is assets that I think Moyes would be interested in more than possibly any other team. Just to name one would be Scott McTominay. That they could put that player on the table, and that could start to bring the deal in a better way. That benefits West Ham. They get a lot of cash plus a player that's not like for like within reason, but fits that mold and could step into the team. He's got Premier League experience, got European experience, got international experience, and you know, David Moyes has obviously scouted him before, you know.
Yeah, I mean, look, Declan Rice is just an astonishing player, and it's no surprise that the biggest clubs want him. And as you say, Man United do have some assets that I think David Moyes would be interested in. I think Moyes likes McTominay a lot. He probably likes Harry Maguire a lot. But whether or not that's something we go for, I don't know. But it would be interesting if a third club were to come in. So it'll be interesting to see if United decide to join the race, because, you know, we're playing this quite well. I think it's becoming an auction now.
Well, there's more things coming to me right now as I'm speaking. So, again, I have to reiterate, everything we're getting is coming from other sources. We are not sources, so don't, you know, we're not proclaiming to be the source. No interest in being that. I'm just reading to you the information I'm finding out as we go along. So Jacob Steinberg, whether you like him or not, is reporting here now saying that unless there's something even bigger on the way, it's hard to make a case for West Ham not to accept the 105 million. Rice's preference has been Arsenal for a while, and they've met the asking price. At some point, West Ham need to move on and start planning for the new season. But he's quickly followed it by saying West Ham have not accepted Arsenal's latest bid of 105 million for Declan Rice. They're not happy with the payment structure proposed by Arsenal. Talks ongoing offer itself not rejected out of hand, and West Ham expecting City to bid tomorrow.
Yeah,
So
exactly.
yeah,
Like I say, we're in a position of strength right now because with City and Arsenal both wanting this player, Arteta is not going to want to lose Declan Rice to Manchester City. Rice is his top target. He's going to want Arsenal to try and flex their muscles and say, look, I need this player. This is our number one target. It would be a bit of a disaster, it has to be said, for Arsenal, to allow Declan Rice to go to Manchester City. But equally, Manchester City will want to flex their muscles and say,
absolutely.
we're still the top dogs.
Yeah.
Whatever you bid, we'll beat it. And we'll show you that we are the top dogs, and that we can get, if we decide we want a player, we will get that player. So this is a great situation for us. I expect as well that City will come in tomorrow with a bid that will be better than Arsenal's. It might not necessarily even be more money. They might match the amount, but there will
Add
be
a player.
much more cash up front. It will
Yeah.
be over a much shorter period, and the add-ons will be much more attainable.
Yeah. I think actually I wouldn't be surprised, if I'm being honest. I mean, this is all personal opinion, isn't it? Anyway, but I wouldn't be surprised if City did flex that muscle, but also added a player. Listen, you bring Declan Rice in. You've got Rodri there. You've got other players there. They've just signed another player today from Chelsea. The chances for Calvin Phillips to get any form of any time at all have completely
Yeah,
diminished. So it depends on what he wants to do. If Declan Rice can be convinced to go to Manchester City when his first choice has always been Arsenal, potentially, according to reports, then, West Ham possibly could do the same with Calvin Phillips. It's funny. Tonight's the night where things have clicked for me in the whole West Ham journey and the whole Declan Rice journey. I've been aware that Declan Rice is 95% leaving our club. Tonight's confirmed he's going to be leaving our club, right? I know that for a fact.
yeah,
I've now got this random bit of excitement about the whole process because I'm now starting to think, like, shit, we're a bit slow in our uptake on how we're bringing in players, but that's a lot of money. Tommy, you're even explaining like that, and it's true. It's a shit load of money, and we need to understand that
yeah,
as a fan base. We're not. I always bring up the Rio Ferdinand sale to Leeds, and I think life back then was comparable in terms of what things are valued at right now. So life moves on,
yeah,
inflation moves on, all that sort of stuff. So we got £18 million from Leeds, and we reinvested that not right. It never went right, but we were reinvesting that from a place of relegation battles, or regular relegation battles, not of a play. And I know we've had a relegation battle this year, but at least we've won something that came alongside it. But collectively, over the last 3 years, things have been better. So we're negotiating from an element of power, of thinking, well, we're above where we need to be. So this money could fucking hell, Tommy, man, like, could really be really powerful for us, because I do believe there is life past Rice.
oh yeah, of course.
I don't think anyone denies we would love Declan Rice to commit to the club if we could invest around Declan Rice and grow. Don't think anyone denies that. But there is life after Rice, and the best clubs in the world have to learn to sell their best players, and we have to be doing business differently in order for this to happen. Mad one.
Yeah, it's in a way, it's kind of a good thing. I mean, the more often this could happen for us, if our recruitment is right, the better for us, really. I mean, if we can do the kind of things that Brighton have been able to do, where they can identify players. Yeah, I mean, look at Caicedo. They paid very little money for Caicedo, and now for them to sell him, they're going to get a truckload of money, make a huge turnover on their investment in a short period of time. That's not a bad way to run a club if you're not one of the elite moneybags clubs.
Yeah.
It's the perfect scenario. Yes, okay. I'm sure Brighton fans will say, "Look, Casado's brilliant, and sorry we have to lose him." They got a load of money, a lot of money for McAllister. The list goes on. I mean, they've sold so many players, Brighton, for a huge profit.
Yeah.
To the moneybags clubs, and they reinvest it wisely, and that's why they're in such good health and why they've had such a good season. And we need to start looking at ourselves in that same light. We're not a moneybags club. We're like Man City and Chelsea. So if we can replace Declan Rice with a young, incredibly talented player who in 2 or 3 seasons' time we can treble or quadruple our money on, that's great business. We can't be afraid to sell, the top class players that we sign. We just have to have our recruitment right, and we can operate that way successfully and make a real dent. Maybe go and win more trophies. Could
Yeah.
qualify for Europe more regularly. So I'm not afraid of selling players like Declan Rice. It's inevitable that they will go. I think it's fantastic that we're going to get north of £100 million for him.
Yeah.
The
It's
more
really big.
the more often we can do those kind of deals, the better.
Yeah, the better we can progress as a club. I agree with you 100% on that. It's interesting. Sky Sports are reiterating the whole West Ham's valuation of Rice remains £120 million, but it's understood the club would accept £100 million plus a player. So I don't doubt for a second there that there's room for negotiation in terms of the price. I think West Ham, like you said, Tommy, I don't think they'll accept this deal. I think they're going to hold out and see who else potentially comes in here. But if a club was to potentially offer £110 million, then they may be tempted to look at that. That's getting a bit closer to it, and look at the structure terms. But it looks like West Ham are not going to be happy with the structure terms, according to all the sources online just now. They're saying quite clearly West Ham haven't knocked it back, but they're going, no, your structure plan is ridiculous. And you're starting to see all the pictures coming out with the Arsenal strip and the Klarna written over the top, which is quite funny. So it's definitely definitely
like
interesting.
Arsenal essentially want Declan Rice on a hire purchase deal.
Yeah,
Like as if you're buying a new car and you do your hire purchase and you pay a certain amount every month and then eventually the car is yours. You own the car. They're essentially trying to get Declan Rice on a hire purchase deal, and we're not interested in that. It's ridiculous. We don't want the money over 6 years.
Yeah.
By the time they finish paying for him, it'll be 30.
It's true. It's true.
It's ridiculous. Whereas Man City are stumping up the money. Okay, we all knew, I think, that their City's first bid would be rejected. City probably knew that too, but that was their opening gambit. Fair enough. So I think if City were to come back with a bid that amounted to 110, with a much better payment structure, plus the add-ons that are much more achievable and will be hit realistically because it's Man City. I think that's the point where you say, okay, that'll do it. And you accept the bid.
Yeah, 100%.
No, if Arsenal want to match it, fine, they can match it and we'll accept that bid too. But I don't see it happening. I just don't think Arsenal have the clout to put a deal together that would be acceptable to West Ham.
I'm just reading so much stuff and I'm listening as well, Tommy. But someone's written there, Declan Rice is that guy. He is. Over the years, these high price transfers always have this looming factor of, is he going to flop, or what are they doing paying that much? No, Rice will not flop. Premier League experience, flawless, mostly injury, lack of injury record, leadership, which has improved over time, the full package. Needless to say, he's an absolutely brilliant footballer. Couldn't speak higher enough of him. He is that guy. I do believe it. I really do. And that's what makes it, in terms of me looking at Declan Rice, and there's so many comments, I'm going to jump onto them as well. But in terms of me looking at Declan Rice playing for Arsenal, okay, he got the move he's wanting, but I would struggle with that one, Tommy. I really would struggle with him playing for Arsenal. I wouldn't enjoy seeing him wear that strip. I wouldn't enjoy seeing him at the Emirates. It wouldn't make me look at him and go, I want him, if he's going to go and move on, to go and move on and get everything he's ever asked for. And I think he's got the best chance of doing that, obviously, with the club that's just come off the back of winning it under the best manager as well. And listen, we're talking about putting fucking statues up of Declan Rice, but he's got the potential to be in 2 statues of 2 stadiums for the rest of his life if he goes on to these clubs and gives them what Gundogan gave to them, what Silva gave to them, what Company gave to them as well. Because he will be, without a shadow of a doubt, whatever team he signs for, he will move on to be the club captain. He will move on to be the England captain, and he will give us, apart from just the best years or give that club he goes to some of the best years he can do. He's that good. He is that good.
Yeah, I disagree with Kai. Kai thinks City are just going to fold now
Let me
that
have a look
Arsenal
here. Where's
have
that down there?
bid 105 million. Completely disagree. City are going to flex their muscles, I believe, tomorrow. Put in a big bid, and I obviously I've got no insider information on these things.
We don't want it.
My guess is that Arsenal or Man City will come back in with an improved offer tomorrow that will be acceptable to the club. I think they'll make a bid that we accept.
Yeah, interesting. I think you could be right. I think though that this bid that they may come in with could include a player, because I think behind the scenes you've got to be looking at what is this here? I'm reading more stuff as we're coming along. I'll jump through the comments while I wait for this one to load. I've done this one. Father, everyone's saying hi to you, Tommy, as well. Father Tommy, wait and give Man City a chance to come back. David of Lincoln, it wasn't long ago when people said he was overrated. Paid over 10 years, probably. Well, on that, let's have a look here. Arsenal's latest offer from Declan Rice, rejected out of hand by David Sullivan, included extras which no self-respecting board of directors could possibly accept. We've made it clear from day one we want approaching 120 million maximum, or a minimum of 110 plus a player, which could be a cash plus player deal. Arsenal offered some extras described as ridiculous, which included payments should they win the Premier League for the first time in 2 decades and lift the Champions League in the next 5 years. Laughter was had, apparently, according to sources, and City will be back in within the second offer the rest of the week. And
yeah, I think City know they're in the driving seat when it comes to this kind of bidding war with Arsenal. I think they know they're in the driving seat. They know City know that they can structure this in a way that's far more acceptable to us than Arsenal can.
Well, funny enough, some stuff I'm reading now is people are expecting them to throw in the hat Calvin Phillips. That's what people are expecting to happen now, and that is what West Ham will try and push for. But I think what this deal does do is put everything on the negotiating table. Like you said, Tommy, it puts us in a very good position. We go back, we laugh at the offer, we say, do you know what? No, but do this, give us this, and we'll accept it. Go back to Man City, do this, give us this, and we'll accept it. And I think the best ideal situation could be that we get £100 million in cash and we get a really good player for it as well on top of that. And then we've done a little bit of our recruitment whilst having money to go and spend at the same time. That would be a very good situation.
For example, if City were to come back and say, look, 80 million plus Calvin Phillips, I think that would be acceptable. I do think Calvin Phillips is a £40 million player. I really do. I know he hasn't been able to feature that much for Man City, but I wouldn't hold that against him when you consider they're a team full of superstars. I mean, it was always going to be incredibly difficult for him to play regularly for Man City, but at a club like West Ham, playing week in, week out, and his injury record is not as bad as some people are making out, by the way. There's this meme going around now, he's always injured. He's not. He has had some injuries, but it's not. He's played more games than people would think if they actually look at his record of how many games he's actually played per season. He's not as injury prone as people think. He doesn't miss as many games as people think. And I think he'd be a very, very good asset for West Ham as a defensive midfielder. I still think Calvin Phillips is a quality player. He's just kind of slightly become a forgotten man because he hasn't featured for Man City. But you have to think back to when he was captaining Leeds. I mean, he's a captain too, remember? And he captained Leeds, and I mean, his form and his performances for Leeds were stellar. I mean, he got into the England team playing for Leeds, a team who got promoted, and we're not a kind of one of the big sexy Premier League teams, and he got in the England team and played for England alongside Declan Rice, was a starter. Yeah. So, people forget a little too quickly, I think, just how good Calvin Phillips actually is. Yeah. So if we were to get, say, 80 million in Phillips, if that was the bid tomorrow and Phillips was willing to obviously come and join West Ham, I mean, we've killed 2 birds with 1 stone. Yeah. We've got our Declan Rice replacement for that position as a DM. No, he's only a DM, but that's fine because we've got 3 midfielders in my system. And then we've got 80 million also. Yeah. to play with, and we don't have to replace Declan Rice.
The concern. Do you know what the concern I've got right now is? The concern I've got is that David Sullivan is sitting right, and he's doing this with his hands. Right. This is my concern, though. I think when he gets into that position, he starts to fucking lose the plot, and things start to then go out of hand, and then he starts to get a little bit greedy. You know, I hope he doesn't do it, and he starts to go like this, and then clubs go, fuck it, we're not paying nothing, and then bang, you know, or whatever, or he structured a deal that's fucked up, and I don't know, like it's just my concern is it's that he's the man. Fair play to him. No, I can't sit here and say anything negative about the situation. It's worked the way that he anticipated. It's worked the way that we all thought it probably would. But as fans, we get pissed off because we want to move early in the market. That's the key part for me. But let me jump into some comments because there's shitloads. Arsenal fans are still saying he's overrated. Well, fuck's sake. Do you know what I mean? It's a ridiculous statement, really, coming from Arsenal fans. Alexander, 120, nothing less. Anyway, I hope he goes to City. Garino says, I just seen a tweet. West Ham want the 100 million fee paid by the start of January 2025, 18 months from now. So, yeah, I mean, I think what they're trying to say. I think, but City could do that. City could do that.
Yeah, City can probably do it. Yeah, I mean, their last offer, I think it was the whole thing over 2 years, 80 million over 2 years. Whether they're going to go 100 million over 18 months, I don't know, but you know, we'll see.
Ronda and Tony Tanti, City will pay more up front and one or two players on loan and then on the cheap. Aaron says City will be back in for him and they'll offer it over a shorter deal. Hope he doesn't go to Arsenal. Shirts in the house, good to see you, my friend. Happy says, see what City come back with if they do. So long as it's 100 million and it's not over 6 years, then I'd get it wrapped up so we can invest in the squad before pre-season starts. That's my biggest element there. Happy, 100% agree with you on that. I think I want the players. There seems to be, I hate saying it, but the big team mentality is get business done early so they can have a pre-season with the team. And that makes a big difference in teams, you know, getting familiar with each other, etc. So Sky, West Ham's valuation of Rice remains 120 million, but it's understood the club would accept 100 million plus a player. It doesn't end here, I don't think. I agree.
No.
Andy says, with Rice so keen on Arsenal, I think this will get the deal over the line now. I agree with you, yeah. I agree with you, Tommy. Yeah. 120 million plus, been saying it all along. Toby Sampson, we won't accept this bid. There's more money to be made here. Or Man United and McTominay. I mean, we mentioned it earlier on, but yeah, I think it really throws. I think other clubs now, you know, this is getting to the serious part. So this is the serious part now. This is where things can start to get negotiated. So if Man United were interested, then they're going to have to make a move sooner rather than later. And if they're not serious about it, then they'll sit back and let Arsenal and Man City battle this one out.
Yeah, I mean, you know, if, like you say, I agree. If United have a genuine interest in signing him, I think this is the time now where they have to act. You know, this is the first, what you would call, serious bid for Rice. Money-wise, okay, the structure might not be what we like, but money-wise, it's over the 100 million now. So, you know, and City, as I say, I think will probably come back in tomorrow with a very serious bid as well that will beat Arsenal's bid. And so if United are also interested, now is the time.
And on your point, what you just said there, it will be Arsenal's bid. It will end like the league. You know, Arsenal have been touting him all summer, and then we'll probably lose out in the player. We do have to consider, though, that the player, you know, where does he want to go? We've heard through the grapevine he wants to stay in London. I doubt that. I really genuinely believe this, and there's no facts that we know. But if he has always stated that it was Arsenal and Arsenal only, I think Man City have done their due diligence to know that we're not going to bid if he's not going to come at all. So they must have had some form of indication that he would be open to moving to Man City.
They will have spoken to Rice just to put the feelers out to say, look, would you be willing to come and play for Man City? And obviously he's told them he would. Because if he'd said, no, I'm only going to go to Arsenal, that's the only club for me, then they wouldn't have even bothered bidding. But I just want to address this guy. I didn't. Tommy, you're deluded. That's fine, but that's a throwaway comment. Deluded about what and why? What do you disagree with? That's a throwaway comment. You may as well have not bothered. So tell me, Aiden, what am I deluded about and why? Thank you.
I mean, I don't know what you've said tonight that I disagree
with.
That's
it. I mean, I've said a lot. I've spoken a lot. I have no idea. There's no reference. I don't know what the hell he's talking about.
Rice definitely, definitively. So this is great business. We've already done that one. They'll pay more for future England captain. Serious bid. Sullivan just got a boner. I don't know why I put that comment up. Actually, I feel a bit sick thinking about it. Budgie's in the house. Good to see you, mate. Thanks for joining us. Oh, do you know what? I want to bring this point here, actually. Southampton want a deal for Livramento for 50 million quid for their fullback. 50 million quid for their fullback. So just to give you a little taste of the world of we're talking about here in terms of transfers, you're talking about Tino Livramento, who plays for Southampton, who has been relegated with Southampton. Newcastle have got a keen interest in bringing the player in, and Southampton want 50 million quid for the fullback. That's according to all the sources online. I'm like, holy shit, are you fucking joking me? Like, can the beans?
Yeah, no one's doing that.
Yeah.
And if Southampton have said that to Newcastle, they were like, yeah, okay, we'll be looking elsewhere, thanks.
Yeah. Richard says 80 mil plus Tierney. Tom Sam says 90 million plus Tierney. Alexander says, I think to be fair to Arsenal, we were calling for a serious bid and they delivered in this one as long as the installations make sense for us. Sean says Rice 100% wanted to go. They had an agreement. The club honoured. Happy days. It softens the blow. It will be the first time for years we've made a decent profit on a player. Yeah, well, I think the last one really I can think of is Diangana. To be honest, that's the last one I can think of. And I think, if this is true that we're getting our technical director brought in by Friday, this guy's got a really good history of bringing in a lot of youthful players and also turning them into profits for the clubs he's been at. So there's a bit of a war chest there for him, Noble and Moyes to work on. And I know that pains you for me to say it, Moyes, but maybe this guy could be the catalyst of change at the club that we thought we would have years ago, but we've not had for such a long time. Arsenal as a club do need to do a better in selling players. 120 million plus Tierney plus 40% selling clause, nothing less.
Jeez, Budgie pushing the boat out there.
Why not, man? Why not? If you don't ask, you don't get. Let's get the money in and start building our squad again. The sooner the better, 100%. God, we're like 25 minutes behind in the comments. I'll try my best to jump through them. Clearly, financial fair play only applies to smaller clubs, as Everton are about to find out, but we'll take their money. I tell you what, Tommy, I go straight fucking in for Onana. I want him. I would offer them the money they paid, maybe a little bit extra, bring him in. I know the reason why we didn't sign him. I get it. It made sense. It would have smashed our budget in terms of the wage structure. But he's now proven in the Premier League and he looks like the real deal. I think he would add real value to the middle of our team.
Yeah, I like Onana a lot. I think he's a quality player. And as you say, he's bedded in now in the Premier League. So if that's something Moyes is still interested in, it'd be an absolutely massive upgrade on Souček. And we need to upgrade that position. So I'd be very happy to see Onana come to West Ham. It's a pity we couldn't have done a deal for him last summer, but you never know how these things work out. Maybe if we'd have gotten Onana last summer, we wouldn't have gone after Paqueta. And maybe now, we'll end up with both. So it might work out. It'd be great to get Onana. I really rate him.
Yeah. So I'm seeing, I don't know if this is true, but it's potentially already been rejected, but I don't know how true that is. I'm just trying to see if I can get any kind of facts on that at all or whatever. Just want to double check here if I can get anything for you, but bear with me on it. But I think we probably know whether it's official or not. We know that this is not the deal that West Ham want. So let's have a look here. I'm seeing it. Do you know what, Budgie? On this comment, I don't think Declan Rice would go to Newcastle, but I don't, and I wouldn't hide the fact. It wouldn't surprise me if they, just for the sake of it, threw their name in the hat. Just for the sake of it, Tommy. I'm not saying.
Yeah, I think first, it wouldn't surprise me. I think for the simple reason, I think at some point with some player that Newcastle really want, and I don't know if they even want Declan Rice, to be completely honest. I don't know if he's like a top target for them. I haven't heard anything to that effect. But I think at some point, because Newcastle are obviously trying to become Manchester City, as it were, and challenge Manchester City, win the Premier League, win the Champions League. They have the mega bucks owners now as well. At some point, on some player, Newcastle are going to decide to flex their muscles and are going to say, right, we're the new kids on the block and we're going to show you that we're the new kids on the block. And they're going to just go and buy a player and outbid everybody for this player just to show some muscle and to say, you know, we're here now and you better take us seriously. Whether that would be Declan Rice or not, I don't know. I doubt it. Like I say, I haven't heard anything strong enough. But I think if Newcastle come in, it would probably be with that attitude. Is that actually we're going to outbid you, Arsenal, and we're also going to outbid Man City. Not because we necessarily think Declan Rice is worth the full 120 million, just because it's time for us now to show that we've arrived and to flex our muscles. It'd be amazing if Newcastle do decide to come in, because they could take that attitude to it. They will do it with somebody. It would be great if they did it with Rice. If they literally came in and said, bang, there's 120 million.
Yeah.
There you go.
I from what I'm understanding, from what I'm reading here, it looks like West Ham have officially potentially rejected the offer already.
Yeah.
So I think the out of hand I think, I mean, like I said, this is all secondhand information, please. I'm only reading out what I get sent or what I'm finding here online from all the places we go. So yeah, really, really interesting.
And I think it's the right message to send too. I think rejecting it kind of immediately is the right thing to do. It sends the message to Arsenal and Manchester City. To Arsenal, it says you're not even close. Like the amount of money, you're close. It's getting to be very acceptable amount of money, but that structure is completely unacceptable. So Arsenal are going to have to pull their socks up on the structure. It's as simple as that. And it also says to Man City, look, same goes for you. If you want him, we like the structure of your last bid, but the money's not right. So if you up the money with the good structure, Declan Rice will be a Man City player. We'll accept. So we're sending the right messages. That we're not messing about. We're not taking silly offers. We don't care if we don't sell him. If he stays here next season, so be it. That's fine with us.
Yep.
And so I think we're playing it the right way. Amazingly, for Sullivan, I think we're actually playing this very well so far.
Yep. Farron says, listen, if Enzo going 150 million, West Ham want 120 for Rice. He's one of the best centre defensive midfielders in the world and can play.
What was it, 150 million pounds?
I can't remember exactly what it was.
Was it euros
paid, but it was definitely up there. It was definitely up there, wasn't it? It was a huge price. Was it not it wasn't the world record, was it? Was it not the world record fee?
I'm not sure.
Enzo Chelsea fee. We'll do that one. Excited to see what City come back with here. Chelsea set a British transfer record fee. That's what it was. 107 million pounds, 132 million euros.
Right. Okay.
So, yep. City Ham, come on, don't let us down. Get Alex Scott if he's like Rice, like a prospect. Looking forward to seeing how Tim Steiden spends his money. I'm going to have to sneeze. Have to be careful with the spending. 100 million can be gone in two bad players really quickly.
Red Smoke, calm down, bro. Like you have to, Red Smoke, you have to understand.
What's this here?
It's not greed. We value him at 120. So you can get salty. Like you saying, oh, you can keep him, you greedy bastards. Fine. That's not a flex. We're happy to keep him. If Declan stays at West Ham for another season, that's absolutely fine with us. We'll be happy for him to stay. So, there's no skin off our back if we don't get the money we want for him this summer. We get another season out of him.
I tell you what, mate, you might not think he's worth it, but your manager thinks he's worth it. And Pep Guardiola thinks he's worth it. And many other people think he's worth it. So as much as you don't think he's worth it, you go and take that information and pass that to your Arsenal teammates. Eddie thinks he's worth it. Everyone at Arsenal thinks he's worth it. So you go and take that to your little all or nothing program and hand us the money, mate. Show me the money is what I'm going to start saying to the situation. Sorry, the amount of comments, Tommy. The amount of comments is fucking mental.
Yeah, they're fucking Arsenal fans. They're so arrogant. They think they're entitled to Declan Rice just because they want him in their Arsenal. Stomp up the money, you cheap bastards.
Go on, Tommy. Get him told, mate. Tommy is anything but deluded. I completely concur with you, fresh mate. I completely concur with you, Sean. Tack a bit. West Ham will be quids in if they do replace Rice with who though? We've been talking about it.
Oh, that's for another day.
Ever consider they will all walk away and buy him next summer for 50 million because Sully will be desperate to get something back? No one will walk away now. The fact of the matter is, Man City have entered. So I think the minute that if Man City hadn't have entered, this could have all fucking gone to pot. But the fact that Man City entered now, they will not want to be either beaten or back away from the offer they've got on the table. So, could be another Mudryk scenario all over again for Arsenal. Should have bid properly at the start instead of being squeaky. Ronda and Tony are saying Phillips at defensive midfielder with McTominay and Lucas feeding Barnes, Bowen, and Skamaka. We're going to win the league. Budgie, Declan told a fan on camera that he's West Ham and he don't want to go anywhere. Does anyone think he might stay with us? Not now. And I think that comment was made. I think that was a respectful comment to kids at an event that he was doing. So, yeah, within reason, you've got to take that with a pinch of salt, 100%. Paqueta won't leave. Stuart K says, Tommy, mate, you talk sense, but Phillips is shite. Sullivan won't sell him less than 130 million. Apparently, we want Zakaria.
Disagree on Phillips, and yes, we will sell him for less than 130 million.
Damien says Onana and Billing, and Jonathan Davids. Can't allow Paqueta to leave PSG. Very interested. Listen, I've done a story on that one. I think there's an element of bullshit to that story, if I'm being brutally honest. I think, if he has changed agents, there could be an element of them just teasing something out of the situation, but I don't think West Ham will have any interest in selling him. My only concern, though, Tommy, is the player owes nothing to the club. He's not like me and you who live and breathe the club. So clubs coming in would tempt him. Absolutely. Will turn his head. Absolutely. So it's about what his mindset's at. And there could be an agreement in place. Again, maybe West Ham have got this agreement in place with players like Paqueta that, if we don't progress, I'll give you a move next summer. Give us 2 years or whatever, and we could be finding ourselves in that similar boat. That's why, for me, the key element is get this deal done and invest quickly on the best we possibly can get, like the Harvey Barnes, who we think can add major value to the team, plus a few other players here, there, and everywhere. Then that shows that we've got the ambition. That shows that we can push on and get over this as well.
Yeah, like I said, I'm not sure I believe the Paqueta to PSG thing. I don't actually believe it.
It never came from a great source. It came from like 90 minutes.
Yeah, I think don't believe it.
No, you're right, and I think I agree with the whole kind of element of I think there's probably the change of agents has confused me. I don't get that part essentially, unless there's been a absolute fucking breakdown on it. But yeah, we'll have to wait and see. Clarton Booze, the guys over on the other YouTube channel, go and check them out as well. Steinberg updated that the deal's not been accepted. I've read that one out as well, Nick. So we'll have to see what happens. English says Rice needs to have a written into any contract that if he never plays a competitive game against West Ham.
Yeah, I think with Paqueta, I mean, look, we can't sell Paqueta and Rice. We just can't do it in the same summer. That would be crazy. Even if we got a good offer for Paqueta, I still don't think we'd make much profit on Paqueta. Even a bid from PSG, if it came in, might be 70 million maybe we might get for him tops, and that's only kind of 20 million above what we paid for him. It's not worth selling him at that. He's too important. We can't sell him and Rice in the same summer. We don't want to dismantle the bloody team or sell all of our best players in one go.
Yeah.
I don't think we would sell Paqueta. I doubt he's pushing for a move.
Yeah.
And I don't think PSG or anyone else is going to make a bid.
He don't want to say he wants a real club. I can see your little wink. I can see your little wind up. Okay, you can try and have that one. But I tell you what,
he does want a real club, and he will end up with one called Man City.
Yeah. And I get it. You've got an amazing stadium. I get that, and it's like a library. I get that. We've got a crap stadium, but it's not like a library. So I get that, mate, and I get we've won a European trophy and you've not. So that's fine, whether you think it is or isn't. And we didn't.
This is like typical of Arsenal fans. The same fans that were kind of bitching and moaning about every aspect of the club, 18 months ago or less. a year ago. And, now all of a sudden, because they've had one good season, all of a sudden they're back with their arrogance again, thinking they're all that.
He's in for a bit of banter, to be fair. He's already said that. All banter.
That's fine.
That's what they do,
Bantering.
though. That's what we do. You've
Yeah.
got some people that go and find all the channels and have a bit of banter.
Yeah, no one blocked him. He can make his comments.
Don't bottle the bidding war. He's worth what we get now, or don't pay and don't get. Tommy, you are rude.
We're bantering. Don't be so sensitive. We're bantering each other. This is what happens in with Premier League fans. Lots of banter. It's all good. There's no hatred. All good.
Tommy's getting it tonight. He's the man of the cloth. Lay off. Clara Booze say Red Smoke has had a stroke. Gee, I can't deal with this shit, man. I can't deal with this. I ain't crying, Red Smoke. Anthony Vickers is saying 121 million euros is 103 million. Oh my God, you've given me bloody hell, mate. You've given me the full details. I can't read that out. It's 12:30 at night. And I said to my missus, I was going to bed early tonight. I was planning to go to bed at 10 o'clock. And now it's fucking midnight. And I'm like, shit, here we go again. 100 million plus you publicly execute everyone at Arsenal on TV and it's a deal. Oh, man. Love this shit. My worry is Dick won't go to Arsenal and they'll teach him how to choke like the rest of your squad. I thought that was going to be a serious comment for a second. Well said, Tommy. Louis, West Ham should take up this offer and run. Arsenal is not going any higher.
No, absolutely not. Nice try, Louis, or Lewis, or you call yourself. Nice try, son, but we're not buying it. Yeah. We will get over 100 million for him. It'll either be from Arsenal or from City, but it's about the structure of the payments. Yeah. It's not that Arsenal are a million miles off on the money. They're very close on the money. It's just the structure that's not right. So if Arsenal can come back with a better structure, maybe a little bit more money, then a deal could be accepted. So It's not entirely just about the amount of money. It's how that money is flowing into West Ham and over what period of time.
Yep.
Plus the add-ons are a bit silly. Have reasonable add-ons as well, maybe.
Yep, definitely. Needs to show he can do it in the cold night at Burnley. Rice reminds me of a Kane, top player worth a lot of money, not going anywhere at his current club. What? Rice reminds me of Kane, top player worth a lot of money, not going anywhere at his current club. Well, he has gone somewhere. That's the problem. And Happy's answered that question to you as well. Oscar, look at what they would be getting, at least 8 of 10 every game. Never gets injured. England regular, still early, 20s captain of West Ham. The guy's must have paid the money. He still has 2 years.
Plus, you have to remember, you're paying for at least 8 years of top quality play from Declan Rice.
Yeah, absolutely. Imagine the shirt sales from who again? I can't remember who you were talking about Connor there. Sorry. Arsenal had a good 3/4 of a season, but ultimately won fuck all, deluded fans. Yeah, and you could say that West Ham put the nail in the coffin for them winning the league because we certainly started a rot for them. Whatever happens, we've actually got a player over 100 million. Crazy, man. Yeah, absolutely. Well, do you know what, Farron? It is crazy in hindsight, but we've all known it for such a long time. I don't know if my computer's broke. I'm not still there. Yeah, we've all known it for a long time. We've all known the levels that Declan Rice is at. Good question. Who gets the captain's armband, Anton? I made a random shout earlier on, actually, that I said that Paqueta's pivotal. I don't think he'll get it. But if he spoke really good English, I think he would have a really strong chance at getting it, to be honest. But I think his issue, what lets him down, is the language barrier, because he's definitely not there in terms of his English as well. Tommy, you?
Captain's armband. Let's see.
Well, hold on a minute before you even answer this question. This one for you, Tommy.
Mickey Mouse Cup. That's a European trophy. It's all good. We're delighted. Look, we're not deluded. We know we're not a club that wins very many trophies. They come along, kind of quite rarely for us. So yeah, it was huge for us and brilliant, and we're all delighted with that cup win. It's Arsenal fans. They dream about the Champions League. But still have never won it. They've never won the European Cup, but yet they still dream about it. So don't be so quick to turn your nose up at European trophies. There's only so many clubs that are good enough to win a Champions League, and Arsenal are not one of them. So maybe set your sights a little lower. Maybe when you finish third in your Champions League group and you're in the Europa League, you might have half a chance at getting to a semi-final or something.
And then you come against West Ham, and we'll send you home, and we'll go to Dublin. Oh, I love it, absolutely love it. Must have missed the second place trophy parade. We played the worst football in years this season, still won a trophy. Bottle Drops played some of their best and won nothing. It's quite a good point, to be fair. Is £105 million real? Being asleep, sorry, had you on in the background. It is real. It's a real thing. It looks like it's rejected whilst we've been on. So, what do you call it? Over to you, Man City now. Just want to see if there's anything else. Once again, Mikel Arteta and Edu doing an incredible job as Declan Rice saga. Arteta pushing as he's never did before, because he insists on Arsenal plans for Declan to be a star signing, one of the faces of the club long-term project. They absolutely want Declan Rice. Some suggestions that Arsenal may need to go to 110 million to get this done. West Ham wanting the guaranteed part of a fee paid quickly. Problem for Arsenal could be that City coming up with a better payment terms. Rice isn't going to turn down Guardiola if that's the offer on the table. Yeah, no one can see him turning them down, can you?
Yeah, I think Arsenal or Man City's second bid will tell us a lot. I think that will tell us a lot. We'll see what they come in with. It will certainly be a better payment structure. It'll just depend on what the overall amount is.
Yeah. There's so many comments. I'm going to have to shoot through them because I'm skipping some as well. But if we don't, Tommy will be here all fucking night and we'll never get to bed. All transfers are done in 4 or 5 installments, especially massive bids like this. Barca paid for Dembele over 5 years. Surprised West Ham won 100 million in just 2 years. Yeah, but the situation is that Man City offered us a deal which did pay over 2 years plus add-ons, so it can be done. So that's what they're pushing for. And to be honest with you, Ebby, as well, something you have to consider is the fact that the questionably the best manager in the world right now is willing to pay that amount of money in that installments for Declan Rice says it all, mate. That should really say it all. We shouldn't have to debate the whole story. If you've got the best manager in the world and potentially a manager who was coached under him, taking a club who finished second in the Premier League, bidding levels above anything else they've ever done for a player we've got in our midst, means that people believe this is the real deal. The fact of the matter is he's 24, captain of West Ham, won a trophy, won a European Cup, and has given us borderline 8s and 9s every single game he's played with so much Premier League experience, Tommy. So much Premier League experience.
Yeah, never gets injured as well. Yeah. He's available for every game. He's just a tremendous player, and whoever signs him will find that out very quickly. Yeah. Regardless of what they thought of him before that he signed for them, he is a brilliant, brilliant footballer. He really is.
There's one for you, Tommy.
Well, they might not. I mean, look, we know what we are. We know who we are. Phillips and Tierney may not be interested in signing for West Ham. That's entirely possible. They might prefer to stay where they are. I don't accept that. It's fine. We know who we are. We're not deluded like some of you.
Well, maybe if he does sign for Arsenal, then you'll all boo him because you won't rate him and you've paid all the money you've had as well. So I wouldn't put that past you, to be honest. A lot of times banks will give a loan and all the money up front and charge a bit of interest.
I think to be fair, I think it's unlikely we'll get as much of the money as quickly as Sullivan is talking about. It would be, maybe Man City will do it, but I don't think we're going to be unreasonable about the payment installments. I think Arsenal are just trying to string it out too much over too long a period. If they can tighten that up a bit, Arsenal, it might be more palatable, to Sullivan, and maybe they could then get a bid accepted. But I don't know, obviously, the ins and outs of Arsenal's finances and what they're actually capable financially of doing with the Rice deal. But it'll be interesting to see if Arsenal do come back again, or if they just kind of wash their hands of it now. So,
love this comment from Budgie. I've heard that Arsenal are a big club, but West Ham are massive everywhere we go. Let's have a look here. We're nearly at the end. This is good. Anton Arteta is out of Arsenal in 2 years. Watch, he'll take Rice and Saka with him to Man City. or he'll go to Man City where Rice will be at. I think West Ham done an excellent with this. They waited for that much, and they're getting over 100 million. As a Gunner, I'm happy with walking away. If we can't get this agreed now, personally, please, Pep, go away. I tell you what, mate, he will not walk away from this. The fact that Arsenal are now entered the territory of 105 million pounds, Tommy, let's not beat about the bush. They're not walking away from this deal. It's just going to be what's best for West Ham now.
Yeah, I think Man City, as I say, will come back in with an improved offer tomorrow. I suspect it will be one that will be acceptable to us.
Yeah.
Their first bid was very solid. It just wasn't quite enough money, but the payment structure was good, and the add-ons were good as well. So they're kind of on the opposite side of the fence so far in their bids, Arsenal and Man City. Arsenal have come in with a bid where the money is getting really close to where we'd like it to be at. Just the payment structure and the add-ons are not what we're looking for. Whereas Man City didn't come in with enough money, but a very good payment structure and add-ons. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see what happens now. But I suspect tomorrow the bid from Man City will be a very, very good one. And of course, that will put the ball kind of firmly back in Arsenal's court, and we'll see if they can match it.
Fabrizio Romano has just tweeted saying there are still things to discuss, clarify between Arsenal and West Ham over payment terms, deal structure after bid submitted for Declan Rice. But Arsenal are very confident now, despite West Ham waiting for Manchester City. Arsenal feel small changes to the bid can make it happen. I think there is, reading between the lines, element of truth in what he said there, but I don't think it's as confident as what he says Arsenal are. Because, like you said, Man City will come in. So yeah.
Well, I suppose he has to speak in those terms. You know, if he's going to speak publicly about this Declan Rice deal, he has to put as positive a spin on it as he can and sound confident that they're going to get it done. So and maybe they will. Maybe they will. We'll wait and see.
Absolutely. Listen, everyone, there you go. Breaking news: Arsenal bid 105 million pounds for West Ham. West Ham not happy with the payment structure. I don't know if it's officially been, the bid has been rejected, but it looks like it's probably not going to get, well, we know it's not going to get accepted on this deal because this is not what West Ham want. So expect a bid from Man City at some point today, because we are in today, if it depends on where you are watching around the world. Expect a bid coming in. Tommy, mate, thanks for joining us on this late one.
Pleasure. It was lively in the chat, which is always good. I like getting a bit of stick from the live chat. It's
he does.
It's enjoyable.
Yeah, absolutely, 100%. So if you're new around here, hit the subscribe button, hit the thumbs up, whatever you want to do. Give us your comments and let us know. Join Tommy. I don't know if you're doing one on Friday night, Tommy. Are you?
I should be. Yeah, I should be.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. So Tommy does a show every week called the Late Late Show with the Irish Tommy. So make sure you do join him as well. We'll see you tomorrow. Take it easy, everyone.
I'm gonna get all the Arsenal fans.
Get all the You are. And maybe there'll be another update for you, mate, come that time as well. It looks like we're not going to stop talking about Rice.
Especially if Rice is having a medical at City. I want all the Arsenal fans in my live chat.
Love it. Right, everyone, take it easy. Have a good night's sleep and take it easy. Come on, you irons.